nervous?
No.
Where's your answer?
Dennis Beckham, let the ball on! Dennis Beckham! Dennis Beckham! Dennis Beckham! Dennis Beckham! Oh!
Oh, no! Oh, yes! He missed it.
Welcome to the Suffering from Joy podcast. It was a little bit of a rocky start, but at the end of the day, victorious over Kansas. Missouri 42, Kansas 31. The big win we all needed. Also, I guess, in actual Kansas, Austin FC 2-1 on a late goal from CJ Fodry, his first MLS goal, and he was the oldest goal scorer for us in the game because he's older than Owen Wolf, who got the first one on a great takedown. With the panel this week. Seth, how you feeling?
You know, wins are wins, and holy crap, this team actually has 41 points and is in 6th place in the Western Conference. And like, wow, if we hadn't dropped some points at home, like this team could be hosting multiple playoff rounds. What?
Yeah,
we're still Austin FC.
The standings coming out of the last time we played Frisco versus going into the next time we're playing Frisco were a little different.
Yes.
Also with us today is Texas State superfan Brad. Brad, how you feeling?
The Bobcats got a very nice win in the I-35 rivalry that several of us from that went down the game. Had a great time on Saturday, and also extremely feeling vindicated today as CJ Fodry, longtime truther.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a few I told you so's today. Scott, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I didn't get to watch the game live, but I caught up to it, and it was a fun weekend of college football, and I'm here to talk about it, and it's going to be great.
So I spent half of last night trying to figure out, because I was like, oh, you know, CJ's first name is Calvin. I was like, is his middle name John? Is he named after John Calvin? And I spent like all day trying to figure out his middle name instead of like just looking it up. And I finally did that before we jumped on here. Does anybody know what his middle name is?
No.
Jebediah?
No, that was
James.
my other guess. There's something extra Jesus-y. It's actually the Simpsons, Homer J. Simpson. He is Calvin J. Fodry. And I was just like, wow, I love that episode. How did I not come up with this? So we're off to a great start. Recording Monday night, right before the Bears game. So you may hear some yelling in the background. A lot of good non-soccer sports this weekend, but we're going to get to the game first. A lot of folks out on injury, international break. I had a lot of questions about the starting lineup. Scott, how about you?
Yeah, I had a lot of questions about it, especially even in our chat of just trying to figure out if we were going to play, you know, what we kind of seen of playing more of a 4-3-3, or if Nico was going to roll the dice and kind of go with more of a like 5-man backline. You know, the good and bad of John Gallagher being a super sub is that it also means that it's very difficult to figure out what the lineup is, especially with how they present it or how they choose to present it. And with so many people missing in terms of, you know, our top 2 strikers are missing. You know, we were missing 2 center backs. We were missing 2 center midfielders. It gave you a lot of options. And so I was kind of glad to see how much youth movement there was on the bench and on the field.
Yeah, I think looking at it, I told you guys, well, if you kind of tilt your head, we have 4 wingers starting. So it's a little confusing. Seth, how about you?
What I was confused about was like when I saw the lineup, I was like, I thought Bukari was going to be the striker rather than O'Brien, and that was a little confusing. I was like, wait, Apple TV's insisting this is right. This is a match where they actually have their 3-man crew in Boner Springs, Kansas, as to count it out too there. Now it is technically Kansas City, Kansas, but there's a no, but like they did correctly get that right on the broadcast that Hunter O'Brien was that striker for the first 60 plus minutes of this match. Also, I think negative shout out to how Sporting KC presented its lineup. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Sporting KC used 11 Superman style cards to present their lineup, which graphically looks really cool, but tells you absolutely nothing about the formation they were going to play.
That's all we care about.
They did it in numeric order.
Oh, I hate that.
Like numeric order as like 11 playing cards that look like superheroes. Like the graphic design team put a lot of work into that, or maybe AI put a lot of work into that. But like it is not functional.
Bennett, I hate it.
Objectively more functional than Bill Belichick putting no depth chart out the entire week before the first game.
But you know what? Hey, the North Carolina Tar Heels are 1-1. Because screw the Charlotte 49ers.
Hey, that's a big rivalry.
I know it was Gold Diggers versus Gold Digger, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really glad the one national team game was the one time I'm going to watch UNC this year. So when they started Taylor Swifting her, I was just like, oh, fucking God. At least I understand Taylor Swift is famous and popular. Brad, how about you? Pre-game thoughts, seeing the lineup?
Again, and we're going to get into it, I still don't understand the fascination with starting Hot Air Obrion at any point. Been saying that for quite a while. I understand we were short or undermanned last night, but I would have probably run Diego Rubio up top. A little more of a history as a striker than I know Obrion's done it in Frisco, but Rubio's got a longer track record of it. You could have used Owen as the 10, which we kind of did anyway, but it felt like Rubio wasn't utilized in his best capability last night, in his best role, I thought. Totally understand that Owen maybe had to play a little further back because we didn't have Danny, and you need Dubasarski to have a little bit of help defensively, but I still think we're better with Rubio up top than Obrion there. I was also a little surprised, even though kind of necessary, to see Djordjevic in the lineup, just because when do we ever integrate anyone that fast and put them in the starting lineup? Thought he acquitted himself well. Like, didn't see anything inherently scary about what he did on the pitch last night. That was my biggest thing. Gallagher doesn't shock me that he started. I love the continued uprising from some of our fan base of why Robert Taylor's not getting more minutes. I think you probably saw in the last 25 minutes of the game last night why that's the case. And if you haven't figured it out by now, you need
somehow
to.
Nico Estevez praised Robert Taylor's performance as one of the better ones of the season. Is he not watching the same game as we are?
No, that's we'll get into that, but yes.
I mean, it was probably better than the rest of his season.
He had a really good game against DC.
Yeah,
he had a decent game against DC where he scored a goal. But outside of that, like, again, we go back to he had a really nice run in Leagues Cup when the entire team the entire defensive attention for the other team was going against Messi. So it's going to open up opportunities for you, and you have the greatest player of all time, like not only taking attention away, but setting you up with easy passes and relatively easy goals. You don't have that here. As great as Owen Wolf is, he ain't Messi yet. Let's be real here. So I think you saw why he wasn't on the bench, but I think longer term, and this is a much bigger conversation than the lineup right now in this game, where does he fit in this roster starting next year?
Will he be around next year?
He is under contract until 26 with an option for 27. We have 2 buyouts. Or maybe, I don't know, he wants to go to Finland or somewhere else or somewhat. The nice thing about someone who played with Messi is there's almost always a market for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What I mean, I looked at that lineup too, and I was like, all right, well, I kind of get you take Obrion over Taylor. Maybe you don't want to give CJ his first start on the road, fine. But I didn't think about it until at least halftime, and I think what he did was just try to leave as much the same as he could and only slot out what he had to, and that's why it looked all disjointed and weird. And yeah, Obrion was nominally the striker, but not much happened in there. And I think we saw how much Uzuni actually helps out Rubio, because you have Rubio kind of playing that same position, but there were stretches of the game I forgot he was on the field.
What I thought was weird about the lineup was that there's so much speed up top that Rubio's done a really good job of linking that play, of being able to hit it, and yet we didn't see that at all. And all those passes came more on diagonals from our fullbacks than from the guy who's nominally our 10.
I think anyone who has played with Hot Air Obrion this year, when he has been on the pitch, he has looked disjointed with every combination of players on this team all year long. So I wonder what would happen if you had a CJ up top from the beginning, right? Now, I don't necessarily think that you start CJ up top in that match. Again, I still think Rubio is the better option to start at striker last night. However, I just don't, unless your only argument is we're just too thin at the midfield, we have to have Rubio where he is so Owen can drop back a little bit to help defensively in that 8 spot. If that's your argument, then I at least somewhat understand it. But if it's not, to me, there's no argument for putting in Obrion at the 10 over Rubio.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, we got a view of it. We got the 3 points, but if we roll this out next international break against LAFC, we're going to get fucking killed.
But like, let's look at what is that LAFC team going to have? They're not going to have Denny Buanga. They're not going to have Son. They're not going to have Nico Ordaz, who had a beautiful assist for El Salvador to pull off an upset against. Well, like that will be a very interesting game. Like this lineup, with CJ starting in it, should be able to beat the LAFC lineup at home after LAFC is going to be super exhausted and depleted. I'm not saying we will, because we're talking about Austin FC here. We know enough things and we don't say will about anything until it's guaranteed. But like this team had some rhythm to it. And Owen was the best player on the field last night. And I would think against that LAFC team, Owen would be the best player on the field.
Sorry, I would also say LAFC is going to have a midweek match, and we won't that week as well.
Well, and we may go into that match going, yeah, points fine.
They're playing midweek, though, which will be 3 games in 7 days when we play them, because they play home the week before, midweek at home, and then they come here. But they got 3 games in 7 days where we get full rest. If they're playing with an already thin roster at that point, too, yeah, Seth, I think we can pick up those points.
Yeah, certainly possible. I want to go back, Brad. You mentioned him. Scott, what was your thought on Djordjevic?
I thought for somebody who had never played a actual game with the team before, I thought he did pretty well. He just kind of slotted in and did fine. There was no I didn't think there were anything very obvious wrong that he did. And I thought he got put into kind of a tough position of hey, show up here 3 weeks ago, your first game's a start when we're depleted and playing a weird lineup. And I thought he was fine. If he ends up being our Julio replacement of third center back, I think we're in really good shape.
Yeah, good rule generally is if you don't notice center backs, they're doing a good job.
There were a couple of times where I noticed Brendan Hines pointing to different spots when the ball got cleared out after Djordjevic played something, just hey, you want to be a little tighter over here, getting to know the system. But there was nothing egregious, and certainly the goal, and I didn't see anything, and even the near save, or the save at the end that was nearly a goal, I didn't think any of that was on him. So didn't feel bad.
No, I mean, the scariest part for me was we got all these photos of him when we were in the process of signing him, and he looks like, this rough, Eastern European. He was born in a bombed out building in Belgrade, and he's been fighting wolves for scraps to eat since he was 4 years old type of shit. And then they zoom in on him at the game, and he's just big, bright, doe-eyed, youthful exuberance, a little scared looking. And I was like, oh shit, I hope we didn't just toss this guy and completely fuck up his career by making him start this game. But I thought he was great.
No, I mean, if you saw the press conference he did before, they're asking him well, what type of defender are you? He's like, I just defend. And I'm like, that's either one of the most terrifying answers, or that's terrifying and oh my God, I don't know if I'm scared shitless of this guy, or if this guy just has no media training, or he just doesn't know what he's doing. But you know what? The biggest compliment you could ever pay to a center back is that you didn't know they were in the match. And you know what? We didn't scream at him. We didn't do it. He held himself way fine. And you know what? I would say half the center backs that have started in Austin FC history have not done that. So that already puts him at least at par for an Austin FC center back in our 5 years of existence.
At the very least, he is not the worst center back in Austin FC history.
No.
Close. I mean, that being said, I don't think that far will ever be topped.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a nearly untouchable record, but
yeah, someday we will have a center back play one game and score 2 own goals, and that will be what breaks Imo Shark's record.
One day. Yeah, but he was fine. The goal we gave up was a, soft penalty, so I guess we can get into that. But, it's not like we were giving up a ton of open play stuff. They did have, and we talked about it a little bit at the beginning of the year, where they had kind of these lower angle shots where you're I'm fine if you whack that past Stuver, fair fucks to you, but rely on your goalkeeper. So, Brad, thoughts on the penalty?
In real time, I didn't think it was a foul. I thought, even on the first replay, I felt like it looked like Dupasharsky may have gotten grass. It was more of a flop, but when they slowed it down, he got enough of the back of his ankle that, okay, it's a foul. You know my stance. Foul in the box. It's the rules. That is a PK. So fair play, I guess. But it sure felt to me like the replay took a long time, and this gets back into the clear and obvious stance of the league. What is clear and obvious? Because if it takes that, apparently Ismail Elfath was in Arlington last night, which makes me feel at least decent because they kept saying like Ismail Elfath looking at this. I'm like, okay, well, if the World Cup referee is doing it, who also lives 10 minutes from the stadium here in town, like I feel somewhat better about them looking at it. But when the referee on the field goes to the monitor and it takes them another 3, 4, 5 minutes to figure it out, then it's not clear and obvious.
Yeah, I feel like if you're getting to like 16x slow-mo, it's not clear and obvious. And like you slow anything down to high-speed game, it's going to look bad, right? So, I mean, that's kind of where I was at. Like, I don't really have a problem with it being a penalty. I don't really love that it's a VAR penalty. Like you said, it took them a while, and it kind of goes with that. We've seen a lot worse things go uncalled. So, going back to the consistency thing, Seth, how about you?
I mean, yeah, I agree with Brad's take there. It's a point of like, okay, this wasn't a penalty. Like, is it a foul? Yes. Is it soft to give as a penalty? Yes. Was it clear and obvious? Maybe. But like, also Apple TV, I should press the button. You need more cameras. You need more angles. I mean, I don't think it was actually a handball later in the game, but we never even got we had 4 Austin FC players scream that there was a handball. And Apple TV did not even bother to show us a replay of it. Like, you even had Taylor Twellman shriek that, like, they're demanding a handball. And that, like, we bothered to not even get a replay of it. And also that what was weird about that instance there was that we had about 2.5 minutes of play that happened before they went to VAR because the ball didn't go out of bounds, which is a fair thing to happen. So I was watching the match with a friend last night, and we were going through this, and we wonder the situation of what happens if a team scores a goal in the like 2 to 3 minutes that after that while the ball is in play. Does that goal count at that point, or is the goal taken away because of the earlier challenge that was uncalled?
No, this has happened before. They take the goal away and go back to the actual spot.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I would assume. But this is MLS, so we're not guaranteed that they would get that correct.
Funnily enough, the chance that Austin had after the penalty wasn't called was by Obrian, who was the guy who scored a goal that got called back for a penalty.
Oh, yes.
Like, I think against RSL.
I do remember that game. Yes, I do remember that.
I think it was RSL like 2 years ago. I want to say
it was at home. I remember. It might have been Seattle.
Yeah, I don't remember who it was against, but I remember that.
I remember being at home, and yes, that big screwy. Yes.
Is that the 2-1 Seattle game where they didn't actually score, but they got the goal and beat us?
I don't remember.
That feels right.
Yeah. Putting all sorts of good juju out in the air.
I know, right? No, yeah, I think it's probably a penalty. I just don't like I don't like the intrusiveness of VAR. It feels a little too like micromanaging of the officials, and I understand that, like, you know, Elvath's reputation and what he's done, but at the same time, it feels very like you missed that one. Go see it again, and it feels very like scolding in a way that, like, I think breaks down the inherent like referee player relationship of what's going on the field and his control of the match, because ultimately, like, when those things happen, you're not going to have as much faith in the referee controlling everything then, and I think it kind of undermines what they're doing on the field.
Yeah, and I mean, that seems kind of the, like, you know, they always use the phrase like re-refereeing, like, what's the point of VAR if you're not doing that? But like, he seemed like he had a good view of it. I don't know what he missed. Like, if he went on the comms and he was like, oh, I didn't see he made contact or anything or what. But like, if that's a penalty, you should probably see it the first time. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, if the ref's staring at it and decides not to call it a penalty, then I think you kind of have to go with that. Like, I think to me, VAR is more about, you know, split-second decisions that are very clear and that are, again, very clear and obvious, like offside or things being in the box or not. And I think for subjective things, I'd much prefer the referee just make the call on the field.
Yeah, and I'm fine with kind of the like, oh, I think it hit his hand, but I'm not sure, so I don't want to blow the whistle. Like, VAR, back me up, that sort of thing. But like, he was looking at this. Either he blew the call or it's not clear and obvious. But anyway, overall impressions of the officiating, I thought the like end of the game was really weird. I understood they were like in his ear for a review, but you know, kind of general thoughts. Anyone?
I wonder, like, I do think that the league has done a much better job the last 2 seasons of like requiring announcements and what's going on. If you're going to have a situation like that, should the ref make like a 5-second announcement to be like, I am reviewing this call for X, Y, and Z before they start to do anything in the headset?
Maybe.
But like that was one of
Or
the
at least
stranger ends to a game that like, wait a minute, are they going to take the set piece or not? Wait a minute, the clock is dead. I also just like don't. If a team wins a set piece, I do think they should fundamentally be able to take the set piece. I know it would not have been to Austin FC's benefit last night, but like today's, I don't know if you saw the absolutely drunk game between Israel and Italy in UEFA World Cup qualifying. That game ends on Israel gets a corner kick, Italy forces out for another corner kick, and they blow it dead. Like it doesn't feel like you should be able to win a game by forcing another team onto a corner kick. Like that feels wrong to me.
That happened to FCito a couple weeks ago where they like, down a goal or something and then like got a corner and they blew the whistle like right before they took the corner at like 1 second over the, added on the board. It's not like it's, 2-3 minutes down the line or anything. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, in general though, like I don't have a ton of complaints on this one. Kind of generally fine.
Whatever. When you win, you have fewer complaints. If I was a Sporting Kansas City fan, I would have been like, "What's going on here? Why can't we take this free kick?"
Oh yeah,
Maybe
sure.
Right.
Yeah, they messed that up for sure.
Yeah, we would have spent the first 15 minutes talking about that if it had gone the other way. Like, and that's, I don't think it's ever good to end a game where the announcers are like, "Is the game over?" Like that just seems like inherently like a problem of like officiating of trying to do that. And I also, I think just from a fun perspective, letting a team that's behind to take a set piece and they're attacking third is also just more fun. It just is. And I'd rather the game be played that way to where they allow that if there's a little bit more time. But we never know who was being said in his ear or what's going on. But I thought it was just a really strange end of the game that really made it very anticlimactic of Austin's first come from behind win on the season.
But to be fair, beyond that,
to be fair,
it was +4 stoppage time. At 94, we cleared the ball to the other end of the fucking field. There was nothing in stoppage time that would have suggested more time needed to be added on. Game should have ended when the ball went to the other end.
Yeah, I'm actually with Brad on this. They fucked up twice on ending the game.
Yeah. But it's funny because I was at the Fire Revolution game on Saturday night, and that game had a player down for a minute and a half of stoppage time, and the ref blew it dead 3 seconds after the +6. So, like, you gotta love pro. You gotta love pro.
Hey, at least we're not doing the CONCACAF blow the half dead at 42 thing.
No, that was CAF, to be fair. That wasn't even CONCACAF. The African Federation, where they actually ended a match at 85 and a half, and then had to get the players back in from the locker room to finish it.
I swore CONCACAF did this like twice in, a summer or something, but who knows?
There's as you're going through it there, but yes, CONCACAF has done things like this, but still the African federations are the worst at this. Like their officials are just utterly comical.
They sigh. Guys, want to talk about good shit? Scott, you want to tell us how good Owen Wolf is?
He's so fucking good. Somebody made, I think it was Kevin Morris made a comparison between him and Diego Luna, and how even though Owen is 2 years younger, he's actually not that far behind him of somebody who's getting like senior US caps. If Owen is still here next year, I would expect, based on his performance and based on his growth, that there are going to be people who are wondering whether he's a World Cup participant or not, because he is showing out that well in terms of scoring goals and leading the offense. And the touch he gets on this ball to knock it down and then score, and have the presence of mind that I have controlled this ball in a situation where there's chaos and the defenders and the goalkeeper are not in any position to defend. Any shot I get on goal right now is probably going to score. And it did, because ultimately, like, that wasn't a great shot besides that it scored. Also, just great shout out to Abiru for making that pass. That is a pass that does not get made often enough by Austin, and I think there's a lot of speed on this team that can take advantage of that. And I think especially when you watch Azuni, when you see him kind of off the ball, like he tries to make this diagonal run a lot, and nobody ever passes him the ball, and you can tell he gets frustrated because he never sees it. And so I liked what Austin did, because they were trying to do it from both sides of hitting those long diagonals, because that does put a lot of pressure on a defense. So when you load up on speed up front, like, this is a great way of giving your midfield more space to operate and like let the rest of the team work and, everybody, get a shot ready. But like, it showed great verticality.
Well, you just mentioned giving everybody else room to work. If you watch that replay again, Owen has a second option, and it's John Gallagher wide ass open on the left side. So if he didn't want to shoot, which he made the right decision to shoot, I agree with you. It was chaos. Anything on net goes in. But if he wanted to lay that off, Gallagher walks into the net with a goal. So we've talked multiple times on this podcast about defensive back fours in MLS typically are average at best. The more you can put pressure on those guys, they will make a mistake, especially if you have talent and speed up top. Our advantage on this roster right now is, you just mentioned it, Scott, to me it's speed. When we have CJ out there along with them, it's even more so. Could you imagine CJ on the left with Bucati on the right? And just the pressure, you would stretch out both wings, and now you open up how much space in the middle for Owen to work with? It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, two things defenders hate we get here. Defenders hate thinking, and they hate having to either sprint or change direction. They're doing both here. So, I mean, top marks to Owen. Like, I think he's a little loose when he traps it, but like that actually sets up the shot better because he's like, well, nothing to do but whack this.
But it's also just like you had two defenders and a keeper completely out of place on that as well. Like if you had semi-competent defending, that goes nowhere.
So the fact that he didn't pull it out and pass it all the way back shows that he's finally let loose of his father's training.
I think this whole season has proven that. Like there is getting out of the house, living on his own. I mean, think about it. You're a 20-year-old who is probably MLSly criminally underpaid, making $200,000 a year. So, yeah, I think he's having an okay time in his life.
In a youngish city, right?
In a youngish city, yeah.
He's doing all right.
I'd be concerned if he wasn't.
Yeah.
This is
go ahead. Sorry, I was going to say, it's also a reminder talking about the defense that Sporting Kansas City is the worst defense in the league in terms of goals allowed. And, we've talked about this a lot about how you have to put pressure on defenses to force mistakes. And I thought the smart part of the strategy was going back to what you said about defenders having to think and change direction and run, is that it put a lot of pressure on Kansas City to really keep like not just their offside line correct, but in terms of like tracking runners and tracking people behind. And so like I see the thought process of putting Obrey in there. It just, based on what we saw in the field, like putting CJ on there did so much more.
Yeah, it's one of those like I kind of see what you were trying to do, but like that clearly isn't something we should be doing again.
I think though that's been evident all year. What has Hot Air Obrian brought to this team this season? No goals. I don't think he has an assist this year, correct? Does he have more than one or two shots on frame?
If he does, we've gotten them.
In limited minutes, CJ, before last night, I believe he had an assist this year already. He definitely stretched the field on several occasions to end the game. He's had a few shots, either saved or just off frame or whatever the case may be. Like he has been more effective in limited minutes. So I thought last night coming off the bench actually probably helpful for him because he was able to change the game with that speed. I mean, you could tell when he blew by the defender on the one long run down the right side, like probably does not happen earlier in the game just because of legs. But also, that's a guy that can run because he is 21. That's a guy that could probably run 90 minutes for you without much of a problem.
I did a stat check. Obrian has 4 shots on target and 4 yellow cards this season.
I seem to remember him like smacking one straight at the keeper when he had like a tap in set up to somebody else early in the season, but that might have been last year or something. But I do want to go back to Owen for a second. He's a nice reminder that this game doesn't really work like how it works on FIFA, where you're an 80, then an 84, then an 87. Like you can just go supernova in a month. And I mean, he's been our best player for at least since the All-Star break. Maybe since Vasquez went down.
But it's also like, okay, it's not just like going 80, 84, 87. It's who are you playing against? Who are you playing with? And where do you want to set up your game plan through? And we now have enough confidence that we can run an offense through Owen Wolf, which is pretty awesome to say for a 20-year-old.
Yeah, I think the fun question for me, thinking about Owen and talking about where he is in the future, is what league does he get sold to?
Well, I've got a question. So if you're, I know we're not going to get into U.S. men's national team bullshit right now, but is he a locked-in call-up for Camp Cupcake right now?
I don't know if we're doing Camp Cupcake this year because of World Cup stuff.
Okay, yeah. So for those of you who don't know, the U.S. typically does like an all MLS or like, U.S. or Mexico-based players, like non-traditional FIFA date like camp. So
Maybe
that's
we
what
are,
we're
maybe
talking
we aren't. They just confirmed the November matches against Paraguay and Uruguay, and I hope. The only thing I will say on the U.S. men's national team is I hope we just play a serious lineup and stop tinkering with shit for our next 4 matches.
I was wondering with Owen, because there's been rumors about him maybe joining the Philippines team. Does he get encouraged to go get some international experience playing for the Philippines and then apply for a one-time transfer?
The Philippines they've already been eliminated from World Cup qualifying and don't have any cap tying matches because Asian Cup qualifying doesn't count as a cap tying match.
Okay, but they're still going to get matches and he can maybe get some international experience that way, though. Just wondering.
It's a question of like you could still do eligibility switch. I also don't think he has his Filipino passport yet.
Okay.
Okay, I know we're getting lost in the weeds here, but how do the qualifying matches not count for caps?
No, so Asian Cup qualifying matches.
Oh, Asian Cup. Okay.
No, this is not World Cup qualifying. Philippines have been long eliminated from World Cup qualifying at this point.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
My understanding is like the Gold Cup qualification matches don't count for cap. Like that's like a thing across. That it's only like World Cup qualifying matches actually count for that.
Okay, so you're talking about the equivalent of like St. Lucia playing Barbados to qualify for the Gold Cup.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a barn burner.
Philippines. We'll look at who the Philippines is playing this window. Philippines.
Can I go to St. Lucia versus Barbados? I don't care where it's at.
Dude, St. Lucia's awesome.
Check I
go to Barbados is fantastic.
I've been to neither, but I have like major, I need to mentally check out from my job photos of St. Lucia. I'll just pull up and be like, I need to visit here.
Yes. So yes, the Philippines is in a group for Asian Cup qualifying with East Timor, the Maldives, and Tajikistan.
Classic. Some real home run hitters there.
I mean, if I'm Owen, I am getting on that
plus for anyone to watch at 2:30 in the morning.
If I'm Owen, I'm getting on that squad just for an excuse to go play in the Maldives.
I mean, the question is the pitch above ground or below ground?
The only issue is if we're like making a deep playoff run, him flying halfway around the world is not great.
Yeah, especially, that is not. The question is where Google does not have a location for this match. I don't know if the Maldives can actually host at home.
I don't know. Maybe he's just waiting and he's going to send Tyler as a scout. Be like,
Tyler, he's afraid that his father will disembar him from his will if they play for the Philippines rather than for the U.S.
Yeah. To get back to your original question, though, Devin, I think Owen's first call-up might be post-World Cup next year. International window post-World Cup.
Well, if you want to be all on topic about it, yeah. I would be surprised, especially since they're in sort of crisis mode, if he starts getting any like serious call-ups, but it's good that we're talking about it.
I mean, it's also good that we're talking about long playoff run and all of us aren't viewing it as a joke.
Yeah, my, how times change. Think back to like March, late March, when every game involved one goal. The idea of us coming back from 1-0 down to win a game 2-1 would have been impossible.
Hey, we won like 4 games in the first few weeks of the season. They were just 1-0.
Yeah, but they were all 1-0.
Yes.
The idea that there would be 3 goals in a game.
I mean, yesterday was the first time that we had a comeback win on the road since July 4th, 2022. I was at that game in Colorado where we came back from 2-0 to win. But like that is crazy. That is the first time in over 3 years. And I believe
that is a
yeah. And I believe it's only the
third. I was
going
going
to
say that's the second most. It's the first time this season too of like having a comeback win. That's the second most emphasis. I'm sorry. That's the second most infamous Kip Keller game because that's the one where he allowed 2 goals and got sent off.
Yeah. So the other crazy thing you guys are talking about, we're having games where we score goals. Everything was 1-0 at the beginning of the season. We scored 7. We have scored a goal in 7 straight games. We have also now given up a goal in 7 straight games.
Yeah, definitely some work on Stuver getting to that 5-season mark in this one. I didn't see how many saves he had, but it was more than I would like.
But he actually only had 3 saves. They were just 2 of them were incredibly dramatic.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, 2 of them are
He's not as
probably
bad.
of the 607 saves he has now made as an Austin FC player. That 2 of those are probably in the top 15.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
was
the
one
last
that was
one's-
absolutely going top bins.
The image of him like Supermaning to save that ball is damn.
I think that's the better image, but the better save to me is the last one.
Absolutely agree.
That ball's traveling on the last one. It's much trickier than it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
You guys want to talk about subs real quick? Any kind of general issues here, or kind of what you would do?
I thought Nico got him right.
I would have started
work.
5 or 10 minutes earlier, but that's about it. I mean, this first subs didn't come on until about 68.
I thought he did a good job of using the subs when the game was looking like we were kind of losing our foothold in it. And I thought bringing on Taylor and Fodery helped provide a lot more energy up front and a little more, and obviously more counterattacking for because they ended up scoring. And Taylor ended up having some good chances that he flubbed, but he was still there creating chances. And I thought that was a good use of. I thought it was a good use of the subs to counteract what Kansas City was trying to do, and it kind of forced Kansas City to keep bringing on more attackers as they kept going, to where it kind of locked them into a style of play that was easier to defend.
I did like that he wasn't scared to use youth and did throw on Irvin Torres, who I thought looked like he fit. I don't know if he's going to come up and start breaking games open yet, but like he didn't look out of place or scared or anything like that.
Irvin Torres better be signed by Friday afternoon when the rosters lock. He's 17. He'll be 18 in November. And we have his ages correct here. That we will get to as I point to our Arsenal fan here. But as we go through this, we can get him on a supplemental spot. We can get him on a homegrown spot. It doesn't require a budget charge. It doesn't require GAM. He's a U.S. citizen. Sign him, especially if Sabovic or Ilie's health isn't great. We don't have Nicky Boloko, obviously. Like, our midfield depth is not amazing at the moment. Having someone like him that we can put in for 15, 20 minutes down the stretch without having multiple short-term call-ups is something that's obvious to do. And having our first real academy player come through the system is like ding, ding, ding. Also, first Mexican national coming through the system as well. Like, this is just like a slam dunk move for Austin FC, so I expect we won't make it this week. But
I'm glad you finished it correctly. I'm glad you got the right answer there.
Austin's going to do the obvious? No, sorry, no.
No. Yeah, I mean, Taylor did have one pretty good whack-it goal. Nice save by Pulskamp, but, some issues. But, yeah, I mean, overall pretty good. Brad, you want to talk to us about the game winner?
This is what those of us... First of all, we should go back to the first one that post off the post.
Yeah, go for it.
Extremely good cross in, flying header. And what have we been talking about with CJ and why you want him in the game? Height, go up, get a ball in the box, give you opportunities. That's the header missed by a foot, if that, right? A few inches the other way and it's in. And he's fast. I think that's the underrated thing we don't talk about him is he's got speed. Because he's so tall, his legs eat up ground. So I was more excited that he didn't get down on himself after that missed header, because even before was the run where he set up Taylor before or after the goal? I think it was before the goal, right?
It's before the goal, but after the header.
Yeah. So immediately after that first header where he hits it off the post, just a few minutes later, he makes that great run down the right side where he physically beats someone, like off the ball, then makes the run with the ball and puts in a pretty nice little cross to set up Taylor, who should score. Robert Taylor, a veteran of this league, has to score on that goal. You can't just kick it right at the damn goal, right at Pulskamp there. But the goal that we do get with CJ on the corner, first of all, beautiful corner by Owen to get that ball into the mix and in a good spot. But that's just CJ going up, getting a ball, reading the play well, and directing it in. Like, we have seen him do this over and over and over at FC2. Should he have had a loan spell to USL? Probably. I think that would have helped in his development. But this is a guy who has been, to me, based on what we have seen on the pitch, and you can even go back to last year. If you remember that damn game with Rigoni scoring the game winner in Houston, it was CJ setting that play up. This is a guy who over and over has shown when he gets opportunities, he makes the most of opportunities. And somebody last night in the game chat was like, I don't see what you guys see about him. It's taken 29 games for him to finally make something happen. He's played a total of 300 some odd minutes in those 29 games. He's getting runouts of 6, 7, 8, 9 minutes a chance. This was his maybe second extended chance on the pitch.
I mean, the guy hasn't even started this year. I mean, I was a little flabbergasted because I will give Apple TV and MLS credit for pulling up a stat I didn't have, that this guy has had more subs appearances than anyone else in the league without a start. Like, come on, give him a start one of these days.
I agree, give him a start, but hell, give him minutes.
Yes.
He has less than 300 minutes coming into tonight this season, and that's with all those sub appearances. He's only getting 8 to 10 minute runouts at best. So you give the guy a chance and you see what happens. And this is, we say this all the time too with other teams. We've seen it with other teams. Play your kids. Play your kids. Owen, 20 years old, goal scorer. CJ, 21 years old, go score. We just talked about Irvin Torres, not even 18 years old yet. Played well, acquitted himself well. Georgievich, I'm making sure I'm pronouncing his name right. 22, played well. Biru, 24, 25. He's not a kid anymore, but our U22 guys acquitted themselves very well last night. And they were game changers for us. Dubrsarski, yes, he gave up the PK, but otherwise he's been good the last 2 games. Like, we are trending in a younger direction. I'm happy about it. And I'm happy to see that finally paid off with CJ getting a goal because he deserves it. He's worked his ass off for this team for 3 years.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing for CJ for me is like, okay, if you don't see it, fine, whatever, I disagree. But like, your other options are Robert Taylor doesn't have it, O'Brien pretty much terrible all season, play youth. So even if we're just doing process of elimination.
I would always rather play the youth to get them experience and see what you have than play a bunch of guys who are over the hill who don't have it anymore. And I think it's very clear that O'Brien doesn't have it anymore. He's lost a step he couldn't afford to lose. And it's unclear that Taylor ever really had it. I mean, besides like one really great goal against DC, that's kind of all he's brought to us.
And it was a nice goal, but like, this is like, I will take your no names who will work over a name that people think will be good. That being said, you guys are probably not watching it. Suriname just scored on El Salvador in front of 50,000 Salvadorian fans, and the 5 Suriname away fans are in their own luxury box because it was the only way to keep them safe. And that stadium, even with mute on, sounds like they're going to need about 500 security guards to get out of there if they win.
Are they in San Pedro Sula?
No, that's Honduras, Devin. Get your country right. They're in San Salvador.
Yeah. I'm sorry, that was a little racist of me.
Sorry, the Suriname fans may have to spend
against each other. So
yeah, they might have to spend a few days there. Well, they could get Bukele to give out. They can have prisoners be their soldiers at this point to get them out there because I think there's enough people in El Salvador to do that.
Yeah, why not? All right, well, I feel dumb now, but anyway. Anything else you guys want to do on the game, or should we go ahead and hit the format so we can talk about the important stuff?
Just again, tip of the cap to Stuber on the last save.
Yep.
I mean, it saved 2 points.
Yeah, I think we were actually generally pretty in danger of giving that lead up towards the end.
21 through 24 Austin FC, that is a 2-2. Even with the same Brad Stuver goal, there would have been another defensive misstep that would have allowed for one more step, and we would have done something, and we would have given up a goal in that situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know we talked about giving up a goal in the last 7 games, even though we're scoring. But like, even if you look at the goals that are being scored, like it's really soft penalties or like things that you're not just like, oh, this team sucks defensively. But it's just being like defensive errors where like the center back is one-on-one with an offensive with an attacker and just fails. Like, I feel like there's like some better structure here. And kind of my like last like big picture thought about it was I was looking at Austin's actually goals scored and goals against the XG, and there's actually a case to be made this team's actually underperforming results wise based on what like underlying numbers are, especially when you look at how like there's this kind of I think incorrect idea that like refereeing decisions even out over time. I don't think they do. And I think, as Nico said, like, I think we've had some soft penalties called on us this year, and even things that pro has admitted were wrong that haven't balanced out in a way. And so I do think this team, like, we talk about them being like a little higher in the standings with like a couple of results going a different way. And I do think this team is better than we think it is. But I also think that's an indictment of a really bad conference, because the West is just embarrassingly bad from like 10 down.
Yeah, I'm astounded every time we play some of these teams, and I'm like, how the fuck are you professionals?
And yet, spoon winners, the spoon winners are going to be, or likely spoon winners in LA Galaxy, are going to be in CONCACAF Champions Cup next year.
Well, yeah, they won a trophy. They should be. I do think we do need to tip the cap a little to Nico as well for keeping this team together. And there has been growth. Like, we've been hard on him. I've been hard on him this year. God knows, I halfway through the year, I'm wondering, what the hell are we talking about? What are we doing here? Question the hire from the beginning. But he's done well to keep a steady ship through the season and allow the team to grow into itself. I still want to know how it's going to play together when Vasquez comes back with Izuni, because there's a pending question of how does this all fit together with our actual striker back. But Nico, been hard on you, but good job so far. Honestly, last month and a half, except for the few draws here and there that we'd like to have back, but overall, we've lost one match since the end of June. It's not bad.
Yeah, and I mean,
that was a match that, honestly, like, if there isn't for a not bad call but stupid PK, we don't lose that match.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was thinking too when we were talking about the goals we've given up. They're not like, our entire defense just falls over and we're giving up crazy stuff, due to like terrible defending. It's like, the Dessler one's a clear penalty, but like, it's weird. It's not something you expect to repeat to happen. So, yeah. And I mean, now we're in a pretty good spot looking forward. So I do think we're at the point where it would take a minor miracle to not make the playoffs, which is a nice place to be in, just turned September.
3 points. 3 points, I think, gets us there. And we're not talking play-in. I think 3 points gets us there in the minimum 7 spot.
Yeah, hopefully. As long as we avoid that San Jose nightmare scenario I was talking about,
yeah,
I'm happy.
Yeah, playing game in San Jose is the everyone's nightmare.
We have discussed this. We are going to play Minnesota 6 times. It is inevitable.
Yes, and just so everyone knows, I'll mention this too, but we do play in Frisco on Saturday, and then we have the U.S. Open Cup match against Minnesota. We're going to not record after Frisco. We're going to wait for the U.S. Open Cup match because that'll be our 100th episode, and so hopefully that'll be a nice, hey, we're going to we get to host a final, and if not, we'll just be sad and it'll be hilarious. So we'll figure it out.
I mean, we will be suffering no matter what happens because we've watched this team enough.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Brad, you want to get us started with your stock rising?
I mean, I'm going to take the obvious and take CJ Fodre here. A great shift, got the goal, probably should have had another. Realistically, should have an assist as well. So really, really nice shift from him. And I hope that we see more of him this week in Frisco. And, we talked about that LAFC game later this year where he could get a start. And what I'm more interested in too is beyond the international break, once we get past it, I hope he starts becoming first choice sub off the bench. That's, to me, where he should be on this roster right now.
Yeah, agreed. Seth, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'll go with Mateo Djordjevic. It is getting to the point there of coming in from your first MLS appearance as a start, going a full 90, not making any key mistakes, looking confident on the pitch, looking like he belonged. Yeah, Sporting Kansas City, but like he had to go stop. I mean, as much as we have lambasted Sporting Kansas City, Dejan Jovic is a top 5 striker in MLS. This guy has scored. I mean, he did score again yesterday on a PK, but this guy scored 16 goals. Like, that is a impressive number. And yes, you get to go face a Serbian striker as your first time as a center back, but he held himself up really well against his fellow compatriot. Big match tomorrow, by the way. Serbia hosting England, FS1 145 on Tuesday. You might want to watch that one. That crowd should be fun. But Jovic is, I guess, just outside of the national team picture now because he's gotten a number of national team caps, but he does have a few impressive strikers in front of him on that national team at the moment. But yeah, no, great job by Djordjevic. And is he above Julio Cascante on the depth chart now?
I think you give him another game and he might be. Like, I don't know if you make that decision right now, like what you would do, but he has one or two more solid appearances. I think he's easily above Julio.
I will be curious if he or Julio gets a start on Saturday. So Spartak plays tomorrow in Baku, Azerbaijan. And I mean, yes, Denny Bouanga flew across the world in 56 hours and scored a hat trick. And I don't know if Spartak is like, he'll probably get back to Austin late Wednesday, and then we have to play in Frisco Saturday. I'll be curious if he gets to start on Saturday.
Yeah, and we talked about he's been like, not terrible or anything, but a little wobbly since that concussion-like symptoms episode. So maybe you want to give him some extra time. I think the way he played, in the game against KC gives you that option to at least try it. You can say, well, look, he did great last week. Why wouldn't we give him another shot? And like, maybe that blows up in your face, but I think like, sitting here as the ground lays, like that's a completely defensible decision. Scott, how about you?
My stock rising is going to be youth. Austin actually playing young players and giving them a chance and just going with the energy and athleticism. We really got to see this entire season, especially the last couple months, we've seen what Owen can do. And for those of us who called the Owen Wolf breakout season, we're just continually taking victory laps on that. But it's CJ, and he arguably, had he scored that first header, that flying header, like would that have been the best header scored by an Austin FC player? Because I kind of feel like it would have been. There's like maybe one Driussi one I might put over it, but it really goes to show that like sometimes you just have to throw the athletes out there and they'll figure it out.
Yeah, and I mean that was close. That was like literally where the crossbar and the post meet.
And his athleticism made it to where there was nothing the defenders or the goalkeeper could do about that in any way, shape, or form. Like that was a purely like, if he hits this correctly, he scores it. There's nothing they can do. They were not going to out jump him for it. He got enough power on the header to where the keeper was going to be able to save it. Like that is if the pass is good, like that is an indefensible play.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to do a slightly controversial one, and I'm going to pick Duber again because I know he gave up the penalty, but like he's basically running that whole midfield by himself in this game. This is what, his second or third start of the season? Second, I think. And, we didn't get eaten up. It's really easy to do in midfield. So, we talked about, maybe we can toss Djordjevic in next weekend. That's essentially what we did with Duber Sarski here. And, okay, yeah, he gives up a penalty. We talked about it being soft, but, other than that, I think he was fantastic. All right. Scott, you want to go first on stock falling?
Robert Taylor. We were talking about it in LV Slack about arguing about him as a player and if he should play. And there are some people who really think he should get a lot of minutes. And I posted about how, we as a podcaster are for him because his X suffering is really high. You don't really expect him to put any chances on net. When he gets an opportunity, he just kind of is there. And he's the kind of player that I think you can always convince yourself into thinking like, oh, he's still got some juice left. And then you watch him play and you're just like, there's no juice there.
Would you rather, if you had to only pick one for the rest of the season, Robert Taylor's chop and lose the ball or Hader Obrian running into blind alleys? What do you pick?
I think the blind alleys at least have a chance of getting a foul called and maybe a penalty. I feel like what Robert Taylor is doing has no chance. Like it always seems like it's trying to be like too clever by half, and it doesn't really put any pressure on the defense. Whereas at least if you have a fast guy running, like the defense might make a mistake then.
Yeah, fair enough. Brad, you want to go next?
Stock falling is the bar in the Western Conference because, as we mentioned, the playoff line continues to somehow fall lower and lower. If you look at the East versus the West right now, I mean, 42 points is what Chicago's sitting on, and that puts them in ninth. They would be in fourth right now in the West if they were in the same conference. Fifth is currently 41 points. Looking at standings right now, Seth.
Oh no, no, Seattle's on 44.
Okay, yeah, okay. I can't do
Yeah,
it.
no,
Yeah,
I was like, I've been working on
yeah,
a bunch of math today, so we
yeah.
will.
Sorry. Uh, yeah. So the bar is just falling. Like when you look at where this Western Conference is going to end up, like there's a legitimate chance that eighth or ninth place is 40 points, maybe. Like it's bad. When we talked all year about how bad the Western Conference is, especially the bottom half, like it's awful.
But
And
this is
that
an inverse of
leads
last
you into
year.
the game this weekend, which is you can't drop points to Frisco. Can't.
But this is the inverse of last year, where 10th place Austin FC in the West would have hosted a play-in game last year in the East. So MLS gonna MLS.
Hey, we like the chaos. We like the variety. Seth, you want to go ahead and go?
I guess I got to go with Hunter O'Brien. Like, I do not want to see you on a pitch again this season. Done. I am done with Robert Taylor. I'm done with Hunter O'Brien. I'd rather see Irvin Torres out there.
Yeah,
Play the
I think we all agree
kids,
with that.
and I'm looking forward to an international roster spot come next season. Thank you for your service to the club.
Yeah, it's been fun, but
And don't get me wrong, like last year he was productive. 8
Yeah.
goal contributions. Like that's real. We were not very good last year. He did things. He has regressed this year. That happens.
But that goes back to what we said last year, which is when Hunter O'Brien is your leading scorer, that is a problem.
Yes.
yeah. I'm going to go ahead and go esoteric, and my stock following is anyone who says border showdown. It's a war, damn it. Late stock rising to the kid who got called out to do the $25,000 field goal. Fucking legend. I'll put it in the show notes.
You want to explain it for those who did not see?
Yeah, so essentially at Mizzou games, they'll like pick a random student out of the audience or whatever, and they'll bring them on the field, and you get to kick a 45-yard field goal for a shot at $25,000. I have no idea how often they make this, but like that's a pretty far field goal. So this dude's an amputee, and I have no idea if he's a good kicker or if he practiced or like what the deal is. If they tell you ahead of time that it's going to be you, or they draw it game day, but like it's sort of like the equivalent of like
because I saw his interview and I know the answer to this.
Go ahead.
He asked how far the field goal was ahead of time the night before when he got told he was going to do this, and they told him the distance, and he then looked at his either girlfriend or wife and said, "Hey, no chance I'm making this."
Okay.
So he concocted the plan to kick it at the Kansas sideline.
Yeah. So he, instead of trying to kick it actually through like the uprights, he lifts up his shirt, says like "fuck KU" or something on it, and then he just turns in like full body tilts and then kicks it at the Kansas sideline. So I'll put something with the video in there.
So the question is, has a Missouri booster given him $25,000 in scholarships yet?
See, I don't know. That's my thing. Is like I was like, well, if there's like a GoFundMe or whatever going around, like I'll kick this kid some money.
If that kid had to buy drinks the rest of the day, I will be so angry at anybody.
I don't think he should buy drinks the rest of his time in Columbia.
Yeah, no.
Fucking legend.
Honestly, I'd rather watch a movie about that than Rudy. Also, yes, as a born Kansan, I have to agree with you. Like, it has to be called the border war. Like, these two states actually fought, and not as a part of like a larger war. Like, they as states were fighting.
Yeah, like this is the start of the Civil War.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of like Michigan and Ohio State because with the Battle of Toledo, you know how Michigan won, right? Toledo's in
Ohio. Yeah, this is a little more violent and unfriendly than that little skirmish over who had to keep Toledo. I'm glad rivalries are back. We had El Assico Classic one.
I went to UTSA and Texas State the other day, and I went with some LV friends and had a blast. Texas State does not like UTSA. It's interesting. Their fans absolutely do not like them. The words "fuck bird" were said many times that day. But a lot of fun. 79 total points. Apparently the third largest crowd in UTSA history. There's 45,000 people at the Dome down in San Antonio. Very good contingent of Texas State fans are down there as well. So I had a blast, man. It was a fun football game. 43-36 final.
Yeah, I'm liking some of these early season rivalry games. I'm normally a little bit more of a traditionalist, you should play your rival on hate week, but like there's some exceptions. So I'm glad we're getting some interesting stuff early in the season.
Baylor SMU was great as well. Like that
Yep.
was like a semi-rivalry. I don't know what we want to quite call that, but like, hey, a double overtime game between in-state teams. I'll take that any day.
It's the Methodist versus the Baptist. That's the rivalry there.
Yeah.
Alrighty. What
El
was the
Salvador
other
has
one?
equalized, and the country of El Salvador is back on level ground.
Okay, good.
But the guy kicked it off his chin into the goal. It was pretty spectacular.
We don't ask how, we ask how many.
Yeah.
Seth, you want to give us your moment of suffering?
So my moment of suffering had nothing to do with the match. There are multiple moments of suffering. I trust that you guys will choose those from the match. And we actually didn't cover the biggest one. But my moment of suffering, I don't think I told any of you guys about this. So it was what happened to me on Saturday afternoon. So I was going to drive out to Bridgeview, Illinois to go see the Fire play the Revs because, there's this football game going on at Soldier Field. So the Bears get a 5-day exclusive window. So the Fire could not play at Soldier Field in 5 days before a Bears game. Some asshole on Friday night smashed in the back of my windshield. So when I went to go to get to my car, the entire glass is shredded, is broken out of my car. They have ramsacked through my driver's seat, my glove box, everything else. The outside of breaking the glass, they didn't actually steal, like they stole 2 pairs of shitty sunglasses, but left my prescription sunglasses there. I had a cooler full of about 75 beers. Nothing was taken from the cooler. There was a foosball table in the back there. Nothing taken from that. Nothing taken from because I have the whole tailgate set up in my car. And they probably thought that there was actual like weed or something else in there. And like, there was nothing in there. They maybe took a few quarters, but yeah, my moment of suffering was dealing with the people in my garage who were like, well, this happens. They knew about it for 8 hours before I took the elevator up and found out. 8 hours. So the people at Interpark that are definitely not listening to this podcast, I am not just talking to your manager that I talked to today. I'm talking to your manager's manager, to your CEO. You are refunding my parking because you guys cannot do your basic jobs. So that was my moment of suffering.
Yeah, the people in charge of the sacking have been sacked. You're basically going to go all Bayer Leverkusen on them.
That is a way to go, I guess. We will see. The problem is, like, if I want to move my car to another garage, they own the other 5 garages within the next 2 blocks of here, too.
Yep.
This is why monopolies are bad.
Yeah. Brad, you want to go next?
We talked about it, but it was at 94 when the whistle didn't blow and it should have blown. I was convinced that after that near goal, they almost scored anyway, that they were going to find a way to score. Had they kept getting extra time. I was pretty much yelling at the TV at that point, why aren't blow the damn whistle? And it should have been blown at 94 or 94:02. The moment the ball went back towards Brad Stuber in our half, game should have been over. That was it for me. Otherwise, I didn't really suffer too much during the match the other night.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go ahead and go because mine's in that sort of similar area. There's a cross they sent in about like the 91st minute that hits Dessler like on the upper, like it's tucked into his body. It's very clearly not a handball, but I still have like Dessler PTSD from that one a few weeks ago. And, you know, we already saw the ref give a soft penalty and I was just like, oh, fuck, not again. But they cleared it pretty quick. So minimal suffering. How about you, Scott?
My moment of suffering was after the match when I read a tweet from our Minister of Culture, Matthew McConaughey, about how we are playoff bound and there's only 3 games left. And for those of us who are aware, there's more than 3 games left in the season. And it's just kind of emblematic of somebody who is trying to show that they understand a thing or that they like a thing and not understand the thing. And that is my biggest problem with him trying to be our Minister of Culture, quote unquote, is that he fundamentally doesn't understand what's going on. And even if you had somebody like write those tweets for him, they would at least get the number of games left right.
Can we also add that he called it FC?
Slightly defend the Minister of Culture. If we win our next 3 games, we
No.
are in the playoffs.
No.
Well, It is, but otherwise, no. You clearly did not watch this game, and you had bad AI transcribe your tweet. Like, is Grok writing McConaughey's tweets? Because, like, I could believe that. Also,
slight defense. One of the idiots on the broadcast said we only had 3 games left,
yes,
so he
but
might have actually watched the game.
that is, I guess he can watch it from wherever he is filming. I do actually have to do the other moment of suffering because you guys somehow did not cover in your moment of suffering that we had a 5-on-2 breakaway that we did not get a shot on.
Oh, I just
left
call
that
that
out of my memory.
Disney soccer. I'm used to that.
It doesn't even bother us anymore.
Oh my gosh. Like, that's the thing. El Salvador's chin goal was waved off because it was offside because he passed it to himself.
Classic. Classic.
So,
I didn't know that was possible.
I love this stupid sport.
So Suriname is still up 1-0 in San Salvador.
Seth, you want to tell us about Rouges this weekend?
Did not. We're going to talk about.
You're on mute.
I'll do a very quick Canadian preview, but I did not actually get a Rouge count ready because I have other stuff ready. So what's crazy about the Canadian Football League right now is everyone is 4-8 or better. So that means that with 6 games to go in the season, everyone has now played 12 games, that no one is mathematically close to being eliminated from the playoffs, and that everyone is within 1 game of making the playoffs. So it should be a very fun end of the season. The Montreal Alouettes have now lost 5 straight, and everyone is very much alive. And the second place team in the East would be tied for last in the West. Another sport with unbalanced conferences. It is wonderful. But we almost had an American Football Rouge on Sunday Night Football, which people are going to wonder, how can you get a 1-point safety in the NFL? Can any of you explain how you can get almost a 1-point safety in the NFL?
Oh, I've seen it, but I can't remember the exact.
No, it's never happened. It's just.
No, it's happened in college ball. It's happened in college ball.
It's happened in college. Yes, it happened in college in a game like 12 years ago. This did happen.
I will let Brad and Scott guess first because I think I know, but I didn't actually see the play.
No, I can't remember exactly how it happens, but it's happened in college ball.
Okay, Scott, do you want me to go ahead?
I think, is it a safety on a conversion? Like it's just like a
so okay. Safety on a point after or on a conversion. So yesterday in the Ravens-Bills game, the Bills were going for 2 at 27. It was, I'm trying to think, it might have been 30, whatever. They were down 9 and they were going for 2 to get to the 7-point margin earlier. Josh Allen throws an interception on the play. The Ravens run the ball out of the end zone and lateral it to another guy in the end zone who barely goes across the line. If the Bills had tapped him down, they could have gotten a 1-point safety. So they could have scored 1 point on a 2-point conversion.
Missed opportunities.
Which is just like, it's almost incredible to safety yourself.
Yeah.
But like, these are things that happen. I mean, I thought one of the stranger things that happened yesterday in the NFL was my Bengals playing the hapless Browns, who started the drive 1st and 10 on the 20 with 3 straight sacks that got to 4th and 29 on the 1. Like, the Bengals have over, I mean, if we want to talk about $30 million spent, the Bengals offense has like $200 million spent on that a year. And they barely got a safety from their own 20 on a 1st and 10.
The Bengals got their ass kicked in the second half of that game. And
the Bengals got destroyed. Because the Browns have a rookie kicker who missed an extra point and a 36-yard field goal.
And they're the Browns.
But also the Bengals in week 1 and 2 are the worst team in the league. So that was Zach Taylor. This is Zach Taylor's 7th season in the NFL. The Bengals are now 2-11 in weeks 1 and 2 of the season under his tenure. This is a coach who's made the freaking Super Bowl and 2 AFC championship games. And they're 2-11 in his first 2 weeks as a coach. Bet the Jags next week.
There you go. Seth giving you betting picks. That's normally Brad's territory, but we're mixing it up here.
Yeah, but the words bet the Jags aren't in my lexicon. Have some self-respect, man.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. What other wide world of sport? We kind of did most of the college football stuff, but what other
Okay, no, but
wide
we
world?
also had Oberlin College pulled off the most unbelievable statistic. Have any of you guys heard this one yet?
I didn't know Oberlin had a football team.
I mean, they're a T3 football team that lost their game 88-6. But what they did in this game is they had the most impressive rushing performance I've ever seen from a team, where they managed to get negative 56 rushing yards in a football game.
Jesus.
I
That'd
assume
be a
it
lot
was
of-
mostly QB snacks because they threw for over 230
Yeah.
yards, but still negative 56 rushing yards in a game at any level of football is incredible.
Yeah, it's rough. It had to be sacks though, because in college, our sacks count as rushing yards and not passing yards like they do in the
Yeah,
pros.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, no, there's some really killer college games this week. Should be fun. I also am really hoping Oregon decides to inflate the giant duck and put it on Lake Michigan outside the stadium in Northwestern this week, like they did at the Big Ten Media Days a year or so ago down in Atlanta.
I will say, like, the way. So I was at the stadium yesterday. So yesterday, the Chicago Stars, which is still weird to say, they're still the Red Stars. Boo, the non-communist owners of the team. That they played their first game because they are moving to the Northwestern Stadium when Northwestern moves back into Ryan Field next year. So that they actually outdrew Northwestern played Western Illinois on Friday night. The Chicago was that?
Yeah, it was awful.
Oh, I didn't even watch it. I didn't watch a second of it. But the Red Stars outdrew Northwestern football at the stadium yesterday. And it was a very cool atmosphere. But that stadium, I mean, so the first time I went last year for a football game, I was on the 5-row east side line that you see there, which is an awesome viewpoint. My tickets yesterday were in the north end zone where about 7,000 of the 11,000 seats in that stadium are. And there were 4 metal detectors to get 7,000 people into that section. There was a 2-block line to get into the stadium. And then they reset the tickets 2 days before the match without telling anyone. So no one's barcodes worked when they got to the gate.
Speaking of issues with tickets, Seth.
Yeah.
We need to hear your full accounting of your Mexico trip.
Oh, yes, we will get to that in a second. But the one thing I will share about this is that the Chicago Red Stars Local 134 debuted a new chant for moving to the stadium that I want to get your thumbs up or thumbs down on at this point. So this is, I'm a terrible singer, but I will try to sing this anyways, set to the tune of Stacy's Mom. But it is, Evanston has got it going on. You're all we want, and we've waited for so long. Bridgeview, can't you see? You're just not the place for me. We know it might be wrong, but we're in love with Evanston.
Okay, that's
Points
pretty
of
good.
creativity, but I can't say anything nice about Evanston.
That would be a top 10 EPL chant.
Yeah. Which is, well, I mean, I think it's like one line too long for an EPL chant.
At least one. I was going to say an entire verse too long for an EPL chant based on what
Wait, you guys don't like Chelsea, 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 Chelsea?
Yeah, but it has the key EPL chant thing of you just have to like Mad Lib one word out, and it works for every team.
Yeah, it's really annoying.
Yeah.
Actually, the only people that come up with like decent songs are like Liverpool, Crystal Palace, and Arsenal.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Even though Liverpool's latest song has, I think Liverpool fans all banned from Northern Italy right now.
I don't know if I know this one.
Oh, no.
For the usual reason that Liverpool fans are banned from Italy, or a different one?
Well, because like the new song for Chiesa talks about like stealing a player from Italy. Like you can't really, especially after Heysel, you don't really do that.
Yeah.
It's not great.
The Victor Gyökeres one is pretty good. Set to a Sultan Peppa song, so hopefully he scores.
Wait, LAFC's Nathan Ordaz just got hurt for El Salvador and was subbed out of the match. That is interesting.
Alrighty.
It's still 1-0 nearly at the half.
Breaking news on the podcast.
No, but so
Yeah,
my
anyone's
other
listening,
ridiculous thing was, so last week I wasn't able to join the pod because I was in Mexico City. And we got tickets to go see Club America play Pachuca, which was going to be a great match. I told everyone about it beforehand. Got $37 tickets, midfield, like third row of the upper deck. Was really looking forward to the match. I am at the Palacio de Bellas Artes, one of the beautiful art museums of Mexico City, around noon on Saturday. It's 9:00 kick. And my tickets, which are from the great app of Ticketmaster, auto delete from my Apple Wallet. And I'm like, oh, what the hell? Did I use an American credit card that they've ruled ineligible? Like, what's going on here? Then I go into Google and find out that the day before, the mayor of that neighborhood of Mexico City, which I think is like a city council person, not an actual mayor, but I'm not 100% sure because I don't know how Mexico City government actually works, announces.
How dare you?
I know, I need to do more research on like how the alcalderia works in Mexico City. But the mayor of this neighborhood, who claims he is an America fan, decided to make this match fanless because of a punishment to the team. So the week before, America's women's team hosted Barcelona's women's team in a friendly at that same stadium. And in the stadium entrance plan that he approved, 5 streets were blocked off. Some people live on those streets. There was a woman who had a heart attack on the street, and an ambulance could not get through, and she died before she got to the hospital. Obviously a tragedy. But he approved the freaking plan, and he said that there couldn't be any fans at the America Pachuca match because that the America didn't follow their rules. He's like, I'm an America fan. Like, it pains me to do this, but this is what must be done. And we're like, what's really going on here? Like, yes, this woman died. That was real. That is very sad. They should adjust the plan moving forward. Like, fine with that. Like, that's reasonable. Turns out that America, on an unrelated issue, had kicked him out of his VIP box and given him only regular seats. And he was using this to be revenge at America, saying that they couldn't have any revenue from that match. So as petty as American politics are, they are less petty than local Mexico City politics.
That's absolutely wild.
This was all very fun for us to follow live because Seth didn't like get an email that said, hey, here's why your tickets were canceled. They were just like fucking gone.
They just auto-deleted. I got an email, so I had to like go panic look at these stories, like go through this, and like 3 hours later, I got an email from Ticketmaster, like, we apologize for the situation. There was nothing on America's official social media pages either. Like, there were other articles in Spanish I was reading, and I was like going through this, and I'm like, this doesn't make sense. And then Deb's like, are you sure your Spanish is good enough? And I'm like, my Spanish is fine. I just, like, I can understand the words here. I don't understand the real story because the story doesn't make sense. And it took a couple days to get out that real story that he was denied VIP tickets. There were all sorts of memes and TikToks, but we turned on a few minutes of that match. Got to see a lovely jazz show instead. If you ever make it to Parker and Lennox in Mexico City, amazing jazz club. Highly recommend it. So had a lovely evening still. But I saw a few minutes of the match when we got back to the hotel, and there were sure no fans in the stadium. But I promise you, on Saturday night when America plays Chivas, every seat will be full because that's okay.
It's different. Trust me.
Yes.
Yeah,
what you call it? It's what's the because like today in both Mexico and in the US does these ridiculous hashtags. I think it's America versus Chivas is Choque de Gigantes. But this week when Mexico was playing Japan, it was hashtag tacos versus sushi. I'm just like, no,
I'm glad that ended up as a tie because I don't want to have to choose.
I've had a sushi taco before. They're wonderful, and I highly recommend them. But I am more of a fan of the sushi burrito.
Y'all doing euphemisms again? I don't know. I did see the sushi taco thing, and that even seems lazy for like quasi-racist TV programmers. Any other sports we need to cover, or should we get this out and get this to the people?
Oh, so the other one I was going to tell you about is that we are to complete all of our football here, is we are in the final series of the Australian Football League right now. And they have the funnier playoff format where one plays 4, 2 plays 3, and the winner moves on to the semis, where the loser of those games has to play the winner of 5v8 and 6v7. So all 4 first round games were this past week, and one of them ended on a missed kick in like with 4 seconds to go that if it had gone through they would have won, but they ended up hitting it behind and lost by a point.
That makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that there's because in Australian rules football you can kick it through for 6 or for
No.
1.
I meant the playoff format.
Oh yeah, the playoff format is it's a 4-week playoff format, but yes, everyone plays week 1. You win week 1. If you're in the top half, you get a bye to week 3, and you eliminate 2 teams each week until there's only one final, and then you eliminate the loser.
Okay, yeah.
Aussies are
I
weird.
think I get that now.
But they have a big derby now this week between Brisbane and Gold Coast at the Gabba on Saturday, which will be very fun. Those teams hate each other.
Yeah, okay. That's sort of like a crazier version of how the SPL does it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Any other news, notes? Anything we need to know?
Just got to go get 3 points in Frisco this week. It's not a must win on the we have to win to make playoffs or anything. I think it's just a must win for momentum purposes to keep up the good vibes and the good flow of the team.
I think it also guarantees Houston Copateos. No, we've never won in Frisco.
Yeah, it's just that to finally ever win in Frisco was the whole point.
Yeah, Houston's already clinched Copateos, Scott.
Oh, did they? Okay.
So. Yeah, I think my big thing is I'm going to ignore this all week because if I think about it, I'm going to remember that we never win or barely ever score and never win in Frisco. So hey, we're breaking new ground. Let's try it out.
On the bright side, if the game starts going sideways, there's a lot of good college football on Saturday, so it's you can turn your attention quickly.
All right. Well, on behalf of Seth, Scott, and Brad, thanks for suffering with us. Bye.
Promise here for Austin Jarrett Stroud. It's Diego for goodness! He has written his name into Austin folklore.
They just won't go away.
Oh, he hits the upright again. That's impossible.
The Bears' season's going to end on a double doink.
Altidore squares it. Dempsey's missed it. Donovan has it. From hope, there is glory.